Imagine waking up tomorrow, checking the news, and seeing money no longer exists. No cash in your wallet, no numbers in your bank app, no credit cards, no crypto. All gone, completely erased. At first, it might sound like freedom, like all those financial problems we complain about just vanished overnight. No bills, no debt collectors, no rent due at the first of the month. But give it a few hours and reality sets in. You can't buy groceries. You can't pay for gas. Your boss can't pay you for work. The entire system we rely on, the invisible glue that keeps society running, has disappeared. And suddenly, you're left asking, how do we function in a world without money? The first 24 to 48 hours would be pure confusion. People would rush to supermarkets, trying to grab what they could before shelves went empty, because without money, there's no way to restock. Gas stations would shut down instantly. Airlines would cancel flights, and even hospitals would be in trouble. Medicine and supplies don't move without transactions. Suddenly, people would try to barter. You might offer your neighbor a TV for a bag of rice, or trade a pair of shoes for a few gallons of gas. But very quickly, the flaws of barter show up. You can't cut a cow into exact pieces to pay for bread. You can't carry around everything you own hoping someone else wants it. Chaos spreads because the system we've trusted for centuries to simplify exchange is gone overnight. After the initial shock wears off, people would start scrambling for workarounds. Communities would look for quick fixes. Because the truth is, humans can't function without some kind of exchange system. At first, it would be messy. Neighborhoods might print their own paper tokens or hand out IOUs just to keep trade moving. Imagine a grocery store giving you slips that say, "Redeemable for bread later," because there's no way to record a sale. In other places, people would fall back on what's immediately valuable. Food, fuel, clean water, and medicine would quickly turn into makeshift currency. If you've got a pantry full of canned goods, suddenly you're wealthier than someone with a luxury car they can't trade for gas. Skills would even become part of the exchange. A doctor could treat patients in exchange for food, or a mechanic could fix cars for shelter. Value would shift back to survival and usefulness. And history tells us this isn't just theory. In prisons, cigarettes became currency. In ancient cultures, cocoa beans or salt were used. Even in modern crises, people have traded alcohol, batteries, or even gasoline when official money lost its value. Why? Because when trust in money breaks down, people look for something physical, something tangible, to stand in its place. But here's the problem. All of these substitutes are clunky. Barter and trade tokens work locally, maybe within a small group, but they can't scale across a city or a nation. You can't expect an airline to take canned beans as payment for a flight. You can't build global trade on bags of rice. So, while these substitutes might keep people afloat for a while, the pressure to invent a larger, more universal system would grow stronger every single day. And as the weeks go by, the short-term fixes wouldn't be enough. People would start searching for something bigger, something that could actually replace money on a large scale. History shows that whenever one system collapses, a new one always rises, because society simply can't function without a way to measure and exchange value. One option would be a return to precious metals like gold or silver. They've been used for thousands of years because they're scarce, durable, and widely recognized. But imagine trying to divide a gold bar into exact pieces every time you want to buy groceries. Without a way to standardize and simplify, even gold quickly becomes impractical. Another possibility is technology stepping in. With no official money, Communities, or even entire nations might build digital barter networks where credits are tracked electronically. In some ways, this is basically reinventing cryptocurrency, a decentralized system where transactions are verified without a central authority could suddenly look very appealing. People could exchange value units, backed not by a government, but by trust in the system itself. But even with tech, the big challenge would be trust. Who gets to decide how much a loaf of bread is worth in digital credits? How do you prevent fraud? How do you stop one group from hoarding resources or manipulating the system in their favor? Any new structure would have to solve those questions fast, or risk collapsing just like money did. Still, humans are resourceful. The need to trade, to store value, to plan for the future, it's too strong to ignore. Even if money as we know it disappeared, we would rebuild something like it almost immediately, whether through gold, digital tokens, or some brand new system entirely. Because deep down, money isn't the value itself. It's just the language we use to represent value. And without that language, society can't move forward. Because of this, if money disappeared, not everyone would be affected in the same way. Some people would adapt quickly, while others would lose almost everything overnight. Think about who actually benefits. People with tangible assets, land, food, livestock, clean water, suddenly hold the most power. A farmer with acres of crops instantly becomes more valuable than someone with millions in a bank account that no longer exists. Skilled workers would also come out ahead. A doctor, a carpenter, a plumber, or even someone who knows how to grow food would always find a way to trade their abilities for what they need. In a moneyless world, survival and usefulness would become the new currency. Now, who loses? Anyone whose wealth exists only in paper or digital form would see it evaporate. Stocks, bonds, retirement accounts, all meaningless if there's no system to assign them value. Even luxury goods would collapse in importance. A diamond ring or a sports car doesn't mean much if you can't exchange it for food, water, or shelter. Entire industries built on abstract value, like finance or advertising, would crumble instantly. And here's where things get even more interesting. The shift would expose the difference between real value and symbolic value. Real value is food, shelter, medicine, skills, things you can actually use to survive and improve life. Symbolic value is what money represents, the numbers in your account, the worth of a piece of paper. Take away the symbol and only the essentials remain. In this kind of world, the wealthy elite might actually lose their position, while ordinary people with practical assets and skills could become the new power class. It would be a complete reset of who holds influence, not based on dollars, but on what you can physically provide. At the end of the day, if money disappeared, we'd quickly realize something important. Money itself was never the value. It's just the tool we created to represent value. Food, shelter, skills, and resources are the real foundation. Money is simply the language we use to trade them. Take it away, and society scrambles to rebuild that language in some other form, whether through gold, digital tokens, or something entirely new. So, even in a world without money, the idea of money never truly dies, because as long as humans need to trade and trust each other, we'll always reinvent it.